Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have an easy and delicious pantry staple recipe to share with you. We have our buttermilk marinated roasted chicken recipe. You will not want to miss this one. This is an easy way to have tender, delicious, flavorful bone-in chicken, and we can't wait to share it with you, so stay tuned. Okay, so it's time to put together our marinade for our buttermilk marinated roasted chicken. And this is so simple, so flavorful, and I guarantee you, you might have everything you need already. But it creates a tender, delicious chicken every single time. So in a small to medium bowl, we're gonna mix up just a few of our components of our marinade. So we have 2 cups of buttermilk that will go in. And you could do this in the bag or the vessel that you're marinating everything in, but I find that it mixes better if you do it in a bowl beforehand. And y'all know that if I tell you that we're messing up another dish, then you better trust me, right? So now we're gonna add some heavy seasonings to this because buttermilk is kind of acidic, but that's good. That helps keep the chicken tender and during a long cooking process. So we're gonna add in 3 tablespoons of fresh minced garlic. And you can sure mince it yourself, or you can do like me and buy it already minced. Then we're going to add in about a tablespoon of salt and about a half a tablespoon of pepper. And I have a mix here that I'm using, so we're just gonna kind of eyeball it. It has more salt than it does pepper, which is what we want. And that added in pretty well. So now we also want to add in 1 tablespoon of sugar to this. And I'm just going to sprinkle that right across the top. And then we have smoked paprika. We're going to add in about a tablespoon of that too. That'll give it a sweet but smoky flavor without being hot or overpowering. Now I'm just going to whisk this together carefully until all those seasonings become cohesive with that buttermilk and we don't have too many clumps or too much standing on the side. This is enough marinade to do anywhere from 1 pound to 3 pounds of chicken. So it really doesn't matter. I love recipes like this because it doesn't matter how much you cook. If you don't go over that maximum amount, this is plenty. All right, so here we have, and I've just got about 1 pound, so that's what we're doing for us. I've got 1 pound of bone-in chicken legs, and I'm gonna take those and put those in my zip top gallon freezer bag. And I have my freezer bag sitting in another plate or bowl or something like that, because that way if something happens and the bag busts in the refrigerator, then I won't have this marinade everywhere. And they don't have to be in a single layer, they can be stacked, it doesn't matter. And then we're just going to pour that marinade right over the top carefully. And make sure you get it all, because sometimes that's left in the bowl tends to be some that's got a good amount of seasoning in it. Now, one little trick that I did that I wanted to show you is I folded the lid over of the bag. And the reason why I did that is because I always invariably get residue on it. And I don't want to get that residue in my zipper. So you see, this is a good amount for just a pound of chicken. This would be plenty for up to that 3 pounds of chicken. Now I would not reuse this. I would toss it out just simply because, you know, it's got raw chicken germs in it. All right, so we got all the air out, and I'm just giving my chicken legs, and you can use any cut of bone-in chicken for this recipe. It works good for wings, breast, thighs, any bone-in chicken, because we're gonna roast it. So now I will take this and I will put this in the refrigerator, and we're gonna let this marinate for up to 48 hours. I'm kind of busy this afternoon, so I'm gonna shoot for a minimum of 2 hours, and if I have to have it after 2 hours, it'll be ready for me. But the longer, the better, so we're gonna shoot for anywhere up to 48 hours, and we'll be back to show you how to cook it, so stay with us. Okay, so we have marinated our chicken for probably about 6 hours. He's good and ready for me. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just going to cover the bottom of a baking dish with a little olive oil, just so we won't go on the bottom of it won't get too hot, you know, on the bottom. Now I'm going to open my bag and use a pair of tongs and get that chicken out, and I'm just going to kind of let it drip off one at a time and just put them in a roasting pan, or in this case a casserole dish. Whatever you have works fine. You just want something with the high sides so that if any of this kind of bakes off, it won't get all in your oven. You know, your baking dishes work great. A lined rim, a sheet pan, if I can get it out, a sheet pan with a rim works good too. But I like using the casserole dishes because they kind of conduct heat a little bit better. All right, so we've got him. Make sure I got all my chicken. And the nice thing about doing it in the bag like this is you can just very easily just zip it back up. I'm gonna get all the air out and just toss it in the trash. I know it seems wasteful, but trust me, it's really just not. So now we just want to drizzle the tops of our chicken with a little more olive oil. All in all, I've used probably about a tablespoon between the bottom and the top. And at this point, you can add a little more salt, just to your preference. Now, if you've got people who are salt sensitive, you do not have to do this step. Maybe a little pepper. And I like to add just a little more smoked paprika. It tends to give the chicken color where it otherwise might not have any. And we're gonna dress it with just a little green, a little parsley or rosemary. Just something to give it some more color. So these are not, the rosemary or the parsley is not included in the recipe because this is just a preference. This is something that you could add. You could do oregano, basil, rosemary, whichever one of these you wanted, or just use regular old parsley. That'll work too, because we're just adding just a pop of color. Now this will go into a 425-degree oven, and we'll cook it anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. I'm gonna check it after 20 minutes and take the internal temperature. What we're looking for is 165 degrees. So the cook time for ovens and the type of chicken you're using will vary. I just suggest that you always get a meat thermometer and have that on hand and start checking it about half of what the recommended cook time is. So we'll be back when it's done to show you how beautiful it is and tasty, so stay with us. Okay, so we're back. We finished actually about a 30-minute cook time. Like I said, it's imperative that you have one of these because the chicken that you have, the size of it, as well as your oven, or just any given day, really, you might come out with different results. So we recommend a 30 to 45-minute cook time, but that all depends on the cut of chicken that you're using, and we use legs. So it took a little less time to cook those in the oven at 425 than it would, say, bone-in breast. So if you don't have one of these, you can head over to thebutteredhome.com, and we have a link to our Amazon store where you can get one of these. They're very inexpensive. They're very nice to have. They have a nice little handy magnet on the back so you can keep it on the side of the oven or the side of the refrigerator like I do. And it even has some recommended temperatures on here. So this is an invaluable tool to have in your kitchen. I try to show you a lot of times that you don't have to have a lot of tech and a lot of special tools and things like this, but this is good to have, especially when you're cooking poultry, because you want to get it right. It's very easy to dry poultry out, and it's also very easy to undercook it. And if you undercook poultry, it will not be safe to eat. So for undercooking and overcooking prevention, this little tool is probably less than $15, and it's already paid for itself. All right, so let's take a look at what we got. This chicken roasted up beautifully. It's all nice and browned. I did test it, and it was just about 160. So I took it out of the oven and let it rest, and then it came up to temperature at 165. And if you'll notice, see, some of my chicken legs are bigger than others. So you want to always check your biggest with your thermometer to make sure that they're done all the way through. But I got one out already so that it could cool, and I'm going to try to get a piece of it off because it's still hot, and show you how perfect that it is. That chicken is done all the way to the bone, and it should be tender and delicious. So one of the things, when you typically roast chicken at a high temperature like we did, it can very easily dry out. So to lock in that flavor, the oven at 425 almost sears this chicken. So we don't want it to dry it out and pull out all that moisture. So the buttermilk marinade is an easy and inexpensive way to get that juicy, tender chicken with a high heat roasting and quick cook time. So this is actually very perfect for weeknights, or you can dress this up with all kind of nice sides and serve it, and it has a delicious flavor to it. And let's check that right now. It's hot. Now you can also do this with skinless chicken, but I don't know why you would. That skin, that's not all that bad for you. It actually contains some really healthy fats for you, and it also helps lock in the moisture. So if you do use skinless chicken, you want to make sure that you check it with that thermometer a little quicker than the 20-minute mark like I did. You think it's cool now? It almost falls apart when I eat it. And all those spices that we made, that we mixed up and we put on the chicken or put into the marinade, just delicious. Just, it really permeated throughout the chicken. It's not just in the skin. Like if you were to take just a piece of that from the inside, because we had that long marinade time, that flavor cooks or infuses itself into the meat of the chicken as well as the skin, so you just get that pop of flavor all throughout. And it's moist, it's delicious, it's perfect. So this recipe, like all of our others, can be found over at thebutteredhome.com with a free printable recipe card that you can print it out and put it in your recipe book and make it anytime you want, whether it's a busy weeknight or for a special occasion. This fits both. We hope that you'll try it and love it as much as we do. Make sure that you're following us on all of our social channels. You never know when we're going to pop in. We have a really good time and we want you present wherever we are. Also, if you want all of our videos in one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and when you find us, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. I've said it before. Chicken is not Big D's favorite. He's a meat and potatoes man, and when I say meat, I mean beef, which is great. But sometimes we need to kind of lighten things up and add a little poultry in our diet, and so I kind of make him do that from time to time, but he'll be happy that I'm doing it in a tasty way today. So from all of us here at The Buttered Home to your home, we sure love y'all. Bye.